A Seudah Hodah, a feast of thanks after a heart illness. Some people make a birthday celebration when a person turns 60. We feel so fortunate to be able to celebrate this joint celebration tonight for Mike. You have come from Cleveland, Florida, New York, Toronto, Israel, and Columbus. Thank you. We are so glad you are here. Mike and I met when I was 15 and he was 16. We met at a B'nai Akiva Oneg in Cleveland. We have been married, thank Hashem, for 38 years. We have 4 wonderful kids, Julie, Leah, Ariella, and Minna. And they are married to outstanding people, Abby, Uriel, Jonathan, and Stephen. We have precious grandchildren. We have a very blessed life. Somebody want to get that?
A truck.
A truck, okay. Even as a teenager, I was attracted to certain mature traits that Mike had. He was strong, focused, bottom line. He gives 100%. He accomplishes a lot. Great qualities to have in a life partner. These traits would serve him well when receiving a very hard cancer diagnosis in 2012. It was exactly 5 years ago that Mike and I made a beautiful wedding in Israel for our children, Leah and Uriel. Uriel. It was a picture-perfect wedding in Yerushalayim. Right before Sheva Brachas, the following evening, several people noticed that Mike's eyes looked yellow, possibly even jaundice. Our mechutin, Tom Weiss, who is here tonight with Rhonda, is an excellent ophthalmologist. He was in Israel. He took a look at Mike's eyes and said that this was an urgent situation. Tom encouraged us to get back to Columbus and see doctors immediately. We met with our doctors, our friends, Dr. Seth Hoffman and Dr. Mark Hackman. We could not believe this possible diagnosis. Pancreatic cancer was the worst 2 words my family could hear. My father had battled this 9 years earlier. We then went to the head surgeon at Ohio State University. Close friends of ours got us an appointment immediately. They went with us to see him. We sat again in total disbelief of what we were hearing. The doctor was pretty grim with his statistics and diagnosis. And then we started running. We went to Johns Hopkins in Baltimore with Leah. It was not a good appointment. From there, we went to Sloan Kettering in New York. Avram, my brother, went with us to that appointment. Another very bad day. Mike had been deemed inoperable at every appointment. We were both drained emotionally and physically, and our defense mechanisms were kicking in. We could not handle any more depressing meetings. We were then given a final name. My brother Jordan and a very close friend, Dr. Frank Lafer, insisted that we research a surgeon named Dr. John Chabot, a pancreatic surgeon at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York. We would try again. We flew back to New York. Thank Hashem, we met Dr. John Chabot, an amazing, kind surgeon at Columbia. He hoped that maybe he could help us. With an aggressive 3 chemo cocktail administered at OSU, they could possibly shrink the tumor to get him to surgery in New York. That was the goal. It would be a difficult surgery, he explained, called the Whipple procedure. My family was familiar with this. Unfortunately, my father had an unsuccessful Whipple surgery at Johns Hopkins. Nevertheless, Mike said, let's do it. He never, ever, ever asked why this was happening to him. He stayed determined to find the right doctor and do whatever it took to improve his chances. 7 months later, after aggressive chemotherapy, 17 hits of radiation, Mike had the Whipple surgery. Our family, all our children, our brothers, our sisters, and my mother sat together in the waiting room at Columbia. My in-laws sat by the phone in Cleveland. The wait was torturous. After 8 hours, the torment continued, and I thought that maybe, God forbid, things were not going well. They had taken Mike to surgery at 7 a.m. At 7 p.m., Dr. Chabot came out to all of us to tell us it was a successful surgery. It was good. The tumor had been removed. I am a good news type person. I love good news. When Dr. Chabot said it was good, that was all I heard. I did not hear about lymph nodes possibly lingering in his body that would require additional months and now years of ongoing chemo. Dr. Chabot met with me privately before I went to see Mike in the ICU. He wanted to warn me about how Mike would look after this complex surgery. He would be on a respirator, a lot of tubes running in and out of his body, and many IVs. I went to see Mike, and I thought he looked great. His face was full from all the fluids, and I thought his color was great. Thank Hashem. The ICU staff told our family that Mike would probably not be awake until 5 o'clock the following evening. This had been a 14-hour surgery. In the meantime, they said that everybody should go back and get a good night's sleep. Thule, of course, stayed glued to Mike and stayed with him in the ICU. At 5 a.m., Thule came to get us in the hospital hotel room to say that Mike was awake. It was such a simcha. It was also amazing. In the last 5 years, Mike has had scans, consults, biopsies, constant chemo. It is hard and by no means a walk in the park, but the grueling chemo has not disabled him. Thank Hashem, it has enabled him. We have been living a very good life with so much bracha. Mike has inspired many people, and he feels that he is here to do that. He speaks on the phone to other cancer patients and cancer survivors, and he gives them strength. And then he says, ultimately, it is all from Hashem. We are here tonight to celebrate the blessings that Hashem has so generously given us. Our children, our mothers, our brothers, Avram, Jordan, Joel, Seth, and Jeff, our sisters, Linda, Lisa, Ronnie, Evelyn, and Etty. You are rock solid. You have surrounded us every step of the way. A community, you, friends that have shown us kindness on every level. Years ago, when Mike began the chemo, our days were maybe 6, 7, 8 hours long. You showed up with a lot of food, sandwiches, soups, love, friendship, constant davening. You have Tehillim groups at your house. Another big bracha, our Rabbi Goldstein and Miriam. 2 years ago, it was a consult day. Those are very challenging days. I called Rabbi Goldstein, and I said that my nerves were shot. Could he please go with Mike to the oncologist to review the scan? It was not a rabbinical phone call. At those appointments, you learn if the tumor has grown, God forbid, shrunk, God willing, or stayed the same, God willing. They are very intense appointments. Rabbi Goldstein, you asked for the address, what floor to go to, and you went like a pro. Thank you. After struggling with pancreatic cancer and being one of the rare 5-year survivors' spouse, Baruch Hashem, I have 2 tips for all of you, our dearest friends and family, who have helped to get us here tonight. My first tip to you is that as much as you can in life, surround yourself with people who love you, who are rooting for you and say good things to you. It really helps in this sometimes very challenging life. Life is short. Don't hang out with the negative Nellies. My second tip is to hold on, to try your best, hang tough in the very hard parts of life. We all have them. And then turn it over to Hashem. You must try and be resilient and then turn it over to Hashem. Thank you so much for coming here tonight. You have no idea how happy we are, and we appreciate your love, support, kindness, and davening. Mike and I wish for you all health, happiness, and the ability to recognize miracles that come your way.
Amen.